Well, shifting gears a little bit, you recently made several posts about two horses that you have with
Mm.
some health issues. So would you mind getting into that a little bit and some of your experiences with them and your audience? Because they've now kind of become a part of that journey with you.
Well, the they were big posts. They were very well received, and the comments that the readers were making were worth kind of scrolling through and taking on. I thought, um, but I guess the first horse that I'll kind of bring up would be a Morgan gelding that I bought during COVID as a quick flip deal. I mean, already you can see this. There's gonna The universe is looking down at me, going, well, let's see what we can do with her. So this horse that was a going horse. He's not scary. He's not wild. He's honest. He's had some decent riding on his. Well, he says no a lot. He has a long list of, well, fine print in his contract, and things that should have been kind of coming better are not training out. Okay, so my mind is going, all right, we're going to go with the onion analogy, since everybody seems to like the onion, peeling the onion. We start looking for things. We get the horse, make sure his angles are right on his feet, make sure that he's had body work, make sure that his teeth are done, make sure that it goes on, right? And each time we go through this, the horse is a little bit better, but he's still an unhappy horse. He knows his job, but he hates it, which isn't most horses, in my experience. Once they know it, they're like that little kid that goes, I know, pick me, right? And he's always kind of in the background, kind of not wanting to be seen. Oh, and then we get him scoped for ulcers. Put him on omeprazole. Nothing's happening. Get him scoped again. He's got so many bots lining his stomach, chomping away, that nothing is working in that regard. I'm learning all the while this is going on, right? Oh, okay. This horse has taught me more than I really signed up for, but that's okay. He gets better. He's not so cinchy. He's better to saddle. I mean, all this other stuff. But the whole time, so now I'm riding this horse, Daniel. He's a nice horse. He's a safe horse. He's got a lead change. He's like we're not talking a Greenbroke horse, okay? He's going along as though I've left the park brake on. There's no forward. Even when you're riding him home, there's no forward. So
Not something
something's
you
wrong.
would typically expect from a Morgan either. Usually they've got some,
Right,
yeah.
right. He's got his convictions. He's fiery about certain things, but yeah, they're like little worker bees. And
Mhm.
this horse is so I'm still missing the mark. And I'm making supper for Mike McLean one night, and I've got a podcast on. And it happens to be a veterinarian that's on this podcast. And she starts talking about a thing called geld scars. And I've heard the term, you know, I don't, live underneath a big mushroom. I've heard the term. But she starts talking about how these things might affect a horse that's maybe when he was castrated, maybe healed wrong, and that how scar tissue. And I started to think about a horse's maybe got cut in a wire fence, that proud flesh that starts to be way bigger and stiffer and restrictive than that little cut began. And I start thinking about this. She mentions that it can involve the hind legs, of course, that the horse has a pulling sensation, but that he might not want to use himself. And she went on and on about this, and then all of a sudden, as I'm frying these onions up, there's just this little bing, 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 bing. I have approached this horse systematically solving things, and everything in my gut that says that's wrong, he ends up having. We now know that the fact that this horse has never propelled himself cleanly and forwardly with a full range of motion, and it is the full range of motion that fosters wellness in every living being. What we're now dealing with, because I just happened to be lucky enough to find out that this veterinarian practices an hour from my home.
Mm.
And is something of a world-renowned expert, traveling all over the world, speaking on this. I haul my horse to her. He has this full workup with wired to a computer with little sensors everywhere, going through range of motion, blah, 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 blah. Turns out he's got advanced arthritis in both hocks and stifles. So he's had those injected. He's on meds for to deal with arthritis. But still, this gall scar thing interests me. He is going next week to get that manipulated and torn apart. And she said it's a lot like taking a sticky price tag off or removing Velcro. You can loosen these adhesions.